Hello, viewers. Welcome to this week's edition of Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. My name is Murna Barnabas Atiai. There are misconceptions about the funding of constituency projects. Is it done by the legislature or the executive? Who implements the projects? Who should monitor the implementation and who should oversee the sustainability of the projects? Also, there has been complaints of projects shoddily executed or not executed at all, budgeted funds diverted into private pockets, irregularities in the award of the projects, and inflation of project costs, among other corrupt practices. These and many other questions will be answered as we examine the role of citizens in constituency project implementation in their community. In the meantime, Joy Aja is here to bring us update on anti-corruption stories. Stay with us.
Hello viewers, thank you for staying with us. I am Joy Aja with Anti-Corruption Stories. The chairman of ICPC, Professor Bolaji Owasonye SAN, has stated the willingness to establish partnership between the Commission and the African Academy for Counter-Fraud and Anti-Corruption Studies. Professor Owasonye made this known during a courtesy visit to the Commission by some members of the Academy recently. He stated that the Commission was not opposed to working with other anti-corruption institutions as long as the intended partners were legally registered and their core mandate was in line with the mission and vision of ICPC. The Commission's boss disclosed that ICPC was often inundated with similar requests from diverse organizations who ultimately turned out to be attempting to appropriate power to themselves.
Given your presentation of your potential, what you have done, if somebody gets regulatory powers through the back door, it's going to definitely have a very strong impact on whatever you get. Absolutely correct. And I'm not talking about one group. It's another group led by a professor. I can't remember what the name is. But I've seen them. So we are different from what you're saying. No, we are not the same. We are not the same and all that. But they write to us all the time. They want to do exactly what you are saying. They claim to be able to, in fact, to have achieved all that you have said. So it's good to try and clarify, especially for your audience, for people like me who have to take a decision about separating the wheat from the chaff. What makes us different? Absolutely. And all that. I remember those two anyway, because I know that we have received twice the bill, the one led by the woman again, have been passed. Once, I think, in 2019 or 2020, and I think maybe last year, again, twice, it succeeded. Now, you know what it takes to get a law passed, whether good or bad. Absolutely. So once it is passed, it has an effect.
Earlier in his opening remarks, the chairman of the Academy's advisory board, Dr. Rabiu Olowo, stated that the organization prided itself on cardinal foundations of integrity, partnership, leadership through service, and diversity. He noted that the vision of the proposed partnership was based on the perceived similarities in vision of their academy and that of ICPC's ACAN. Dr. Olowo, who is also a commissioner with Lagos State Government, shared some of the objectives of the academy to include corruption research, quality education and training, promoting economic growth, and driving social change.
The alumni, the students that finished from our Counter-Fraud Learning Organization came together to form the Africa Academy for Counter-Fraud and Anti-Corruption Study. And the least I can do is to support them. They've come together to say, you know what, in line with our high growth plan, we need to establish a university-grade learning organization that will assist organizations like yours, the EFCC, the Nigerian Police, the Customs Service, those whose objective is aligned to fighting fraud, crime, or corruption-related activity. That's why we are here, Mr. Chairman, and just like I've said, we are a small ant sitting on the back of a big elephant. The ACFE has unlimited resources in terms of, solutions to all the kinds of fraud and corruption activities that we might be going through, and members, especially member organizations, have had the opportunity of tapping from this.
The Managing Director of the Engineering Materials Development Institute, Engineer S.O. Olusunle, has declared that ICPC has made the institute enviable and unsoiled. He made this declaration recently during a 3-day mandatory training workshop organized by EMDI in collaboration with ICPC for its Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit and some staff of the institute at the EMDI Hall, Akure, Ondo State. Engineer Olusunle, who was represented by the Director of Administration, Mrs. F.O. Yusuf, while declaring the event open, noted that the presence of ACTU in its institution has made it corruption-free and worthy of emulation by other sister agencies. Speaking at the event, the representative of ICPC Deputy Commissioner Olayinka Ayegbayo, in his goodwill message, explained that the training would give the ACTUs the requisite knowledge to win the fight against corruption. He informed the ACTU about the role they were expected to play in achieving a corruption-free environment and stressed that if corruption was left unchecked, it would destroy the nation, and for that reason, everyone must join hands to fight the battle once and for all. That will be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues. Please stay with us.
They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC, they want you. Come on, for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
This is Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. Welcome to this discussion segment. Concern about corruption in the execution of constituency projects meant for the welfare of the community, ICPC launched the Constituency Project Tracking Group initiative on the 2nd of April 2019. What is the objective of the tracking exercise? Who are the stakeholders in the process? And what role should citizens play in tracking, monitoring, and taking ownership of these projects? To discuss these questions, we have the following guests in our studio. We have Mr. Garba Idris FSI, who is the head Constituency Executive Project Tracking Unit. Welcome to the program, sir. We also have Mr. Mukhtar Modibo of the Connected Development. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I have Mr. Tunde Gbamiboye, who is with the Nigeria Data Protection Bureau. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So we set the ball rolling without wasting much time. I start with the head of the Constituency Project Group, who is Mr. Garba Idris. Sir, we'd like to find out, when we talk about Constituency Project, what do we mean and who funds the project?
Thank you, Mona. Constituency projects are donor intervention projects initiated by members of the National Assembly with the sole aim of entrenching good governance and bringing dividends of democracy closer to their constituents.
So who funds the project?
The projects are funded by the government.
Okay.
The job of the legislators is just to nominate.
So if that is the case, what is the objective of this exercise that we are all doing? ICPC embarked on this exercise. What is the objective? What do we stand to gain?
The objective of the exercise is for us to ensure impactful governance to ensure the citizens get value for their funds.
And so since inception of this program from 2019 to date, have we made any significant progress?
Yeah, we have made much progress. One, we have recovered a lot of funds from the iron contractors. We have made a lot of contractors to go back to sites and conclude the abandoned projects. And at the same time, if you see now, there's even sanity in the operations of the zonal intervention projects between the MDS and the members of the National Assembly.
Okay.
Because they are a little bit transparent. Though we have not reached where we are going, but if you look at it, the way things are moving now, there is a little bit transparency.
Okay.
Because they know we are on it. They know we are monitoring.
Okay. So, having established the fact of what it is and the progress made so far, I'll come to you, Mr. Mokhtar. We're looking at the role of citizens in tracking, monitoring, and taking ownership of this project. What do you have to say about that?
First of all, I always want people to understand that governance is all about demand and supply, question and answers, right? Governance will not take effect without election. An election will not take effect without politicking. Politicking will not take effect without people coming together to say, oh, vote for me. I'm going to do this and this and this and that. Right? That is an electorate asking, or someone that want to represent you asking you a question, right? And you provide the answer by voting that particular person. Immediately after that process, the next thing, what takes place is you asking the person question. You said you're going to do this and this and this. Now, the role of citizen in tracking constituency project is paramount because ownership of projects are the sole responsibility of the government to give the people. And the people are meant to ask questions. Now, what we're seeing is not what is happening, right? Because, with the intervention, like Mr. Garba said, the reality is there is sanity because of what ICPC and other stakeholders are doing. We are not yet there, but the point is citizens need to be given ownership for the stability of the project, for the sustainability of the project. And as a citizen, all you need to do is to ask questions. Hold your government accountable. Hold yourself accountable before heading to hold your government accountable.
I'll hold you from that. You said they need to take ownership. But the question is, are they informed about this project? Do they know? Do they know where to go to?
And that is why we always advocate for participatory governance, participatory implementation. Before anything happens, for Mukhtar today, for me, if I want to buy a shirt, I just go to the market and buy the shirt. But for government, you have to do what is called budgeting. And in budgeting, there is what is called participatory budgeting. There is a need of people and there is a want of people. So ideally, we're supposed to be organizing town hall meetings so that we actively do activities that will lead us to that participatory governance, where we bring people together for people to tell us this is what they want, this is what they need, right? Or conduct need assessment to sort of understand what people are looking at. And if people are looking at this and people are able to express themselves by giving their want and need, automatically there is what is called ownership if the project is being implemented. Because whenever the government come back to implement that particular want and need, people will shout us, hey, this is what I said should be done, and it's been done. All they will do is to take ownership of that and continue to monitor, because you can't monitor what you don't know. And that's why we always preach that participatory governance for government to inform people. Our budget should be in the public domain. Yes, we're seeing citizen budgets now. We're seeing websites that are coming with citizen budget, but still, implementation is a key. We need to encourage and see government putting the budget out there, putting the bidding process during the contracting, and then we should have a transparent system of contracting, implementation of project, budgeting, and what have you.
Okay, thank you. I'll still come back to you, but let me come to Mr. Tunde Bamiboye, who works with the Data Protection Bureau. Given the significant progress made by ICPC and its partners in ensuring the constituency projects are actually executed, now the question is, how can planning of the project be made to suit the needs of the local people in the absence of reliable data?
Thank you very much, Mona. Thank you, viewers. Of course, there is no way we can ensure proper implementation, monitoring, and accountability without data. And part of the measures that governments have put in place is the establishment of the Nigeria Data Protection Bureau. Of course, the core mandate of the Bureau is the protection of personal data. But also, in the process of protecting this data, there are questions that are asked, whether the collecting data, you have done that legitimately, lawfully, you have done it accurately, or for the purpose, and so many other principles. So when you import these principles to the process of conceptualization of constituency project or zonal intervention projects, as the case may be, definitely you will get the data that is needed. As a matter of fact, the World Bank came up with a report, I think in 2021, that talks about data for public intent. And what is the idea on data for public intent is that government should be able to track, to make policies based on data-driven policy. That is number one. Number two, government will be able to prioritize what it should spend money on. And secondly, through data, citizens will be able to hold government accountable, and they'll be able to make informed decision, because decision has to be based on data. So in the absence of all this, we cannot. And we have a good example in that, I think in the sanitation sector, when government conducted, a survey and discovered that about 130 million Nigerians do not have access to, proper water system, sanitation, and all that. 180 million, which led the President Muhammadu Buhari, to declare a state of emergency in the sector. And at the end of the day, the system was organized, targeted towards specific needs. So beyond actually going after those who didn't execute project, we have to use the power of the ICPC, because I know under, I think, Section 6 of the ICPC Act, there you can control, you can lay out how things ought to be done so that you can achieve transparency, so that you don't go to a community where they need hospital, for instance, and all you are just producing is just maybe training on on so many other things that are not really tangible.
Okay, so I'll cut you short and ask another question based on what you said, talking about getting a reliable data. If that is the case, what can be done in the short term to provide a usable data?
Yes, I think it's in line with what I have already said. There has to be a template. The first thing is, the government has set up a commission. I lead the legal team of the legal enforcement and regulations team of that bureau. Therefore, that is the first step in ensuring that, of course, we get this done. Then, of course, we have to create awareness, such as we are doing at the moment, because without information, there is no way people will know what data, what questions they should be asking, where they should go to, and the planning process, they will not know. So the agency that is responsible, such as ICPC, that has taken this upon itself, should be able to draw up a template on, a kind of template, maybe not to, overtake the Procurement Act, because that is there, but there are some other ways by which the ICPC can intervene in ensuring transparency.
I'll come back to you, Mokhtar. He raised something about enlightenment. What is the role of the CSOs in that regard, in trying to enlighten the people? Because we're talking about role of citizens in taking ownership, tracking projects, and taking ownership. What is the CSOs doing in that regard?
All right. As a civil society organization, we all need to understand that aside civil society, there is what is called civil. The real civil society is the people. Without the people, there will not be civil society organization. Civil society organization is the coming together of, like minds to come and adjudicate things so that we define problems. Now, as civil society organization, I will always say that what they need to do is to help define the problem. One of the major things that we keep having issues is people in the rural communities and people in the urban communities and communities always have lack of information, right? So as a civil society person, what we always do is to define problems, right? To enable the people in the communities provide a local solution, define it to the local terms that they will understand that this is a problem. He made mention of issues of water, sanitation, and hygiene, right? Now, if you don't tell people, don't dig borehole close to a soccer way, they might not know, I might not know, right? But when the information gets out there, so people will advocate. And what we keep on saying, how do gossip or abebo gets to other people? You tell two people tell two people, and that is how the information gets there. And what we're doing today, with the help of ICPC and other anti-corrupt agencies, were to always advocate and inform people. This is how governance should be. This is the best practice. This is what we're seeing. Let's put it together. See what is good and talk about what is not doing well, what is not going well. How can we change it? And that's why 2023 it's a legacy year for our democracy. What we need to do is to begin to look at leaders that are legitimate, to begin to look at leaders that are credible, so that we will know whether or not we hold them accountable. So as a civil society organization person, I will always say what we are doing is creating awareness. And how do we create awareness? We define problems to local context and get solution from them from the local point of view in the solution aspect.
Thank you. And on the final note, Mr. GT, ICPC has done the first, second, and third tracking. So from here, what next?
We have done the first, second, third, and we have finished the fourth. Now, by June, we are starting the fifth tracking.
Okay. So how sustainable is this project?
Yeah, the project, the ICPC tracking project, from the look of things, from the initiative that this present board puts, the tracking can be sustained. Because if you could remember, the tracking started as a group, CPTG group, which is later institutionalized. And a full division was created in the operation department. So you see, it is something that is sustainable, it is something that will be continuous, because we have a division that is in charge with that responsibility.
Okay.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
Active citizens have a right to make an input into nominating the projects for their community. They should also monitor to ensure that things are done rightly. That way, they can enjoy the dividends of government even at the grassroots. Join ICPC in the fight against corruption by reporting all forms of corruption and corrupt practices through our social media platforms. Visit our website www.icpc.gov.ng and click on downloads to get details of projects allotted to your constituency. You can also call us on toll-free number as shown on your screen. Thank you for watching and see you again next week at 3:30 p.m. on the NTA Network Service and NTA International. Bye for now.